Okay, so here we have a word problem, and we're going to have to do some interpreting of the word problem. Now, one of the things you have to do when you have a word problem like this is sometimes you have to just read it a few times, all right? So I'm only going to read it once, but in order to do this problem, I actually had to think about it more than just the one time I'm reading it. So suppose you have n cars in your lots. If you double the cars in your lot and then get rid of 5, you have the same number of cars in your lots if instead you halved the number of cars in your lots and added 1. Write an equation to solve for the number of cars in your lots. So notice that we're not actually going to solve, right? The thing that it wants us to do is to write an equation that we would use to solve. Okay, so we're just going to try to set up that equation. And what we're working with is the variable n, right? There's some capital N number of cars in our lot. And it says if we double the cars in a lot and then get rid of 5, you have the same number, okay? So when you see same number, you should be thinking equals sign, okay? You should be thinking equals sign. Same number in your lots if you have the number of cars in your lot and added 1, okay? So you got to think about there's these two different ways you could change the number of cars that are in your lots. The first way of changing the number of cars in your lots is to double the cars in your lots and then get rid of 5. Okay, so let's just think about that. If I double the cars in my lot and then get rid of 5, I'm doing 2 times 5 first, right? So I'm first going to do, not 2 times 5, 2 times n. I'm first going to do 2 times my n. That's what I want to do first. And then I want to get rid of 5. So I'm going to subtract 5. So notice I put in parentheses 2 times n because I wanted to ensure that even if my order of operations did not mean that I doubled first, that I am doubling first no matter what. And that actually works out in this case. I am going to double first without the parentheses, but the parentheses there ensures that I will double before I take away the 5. So that is why I put the parentheses there, because I wanted to make sure that I first doubled. So now let's think about the other thing, right? Because that's the end of the first way of manipulating the number of cars in your lots, to double and then get rid of 5. What happens if instead you have the number of cars and then added 1? Now again, the first thing I want to do is have them. And so in parentheses, I'm going to have the number of cars in my lot by multiplying by 1/2 or doing n divided by 2, whichever one you want. And again, putting parentheses to ensure that that operation comes first. And then I'm going to add 1, okay? Now again, that is the second way of manipulating the number of cars in my lot. And so what we can do is we can just now focus on the same number bits I already brought our attention to. These two things have to be the same. Now just one simple simplification, and I have a very nice equation that we could solve in order to get the number of cars that are in the lot.